What's up, guys? It's your boy Benny, formerly known as BuzzFeed Benny. You may or may not have known that about me, but my former company, BuzzFeed, was shut down today. Ding dong, the witch is dead. A lot of schadenfreude going around inside of my studio, and I have some complicated and interesting thoughts to get out here, but let's start with the news. BuzzFeed News to shut down. Layoffs are occurring across every news division. We're determined that the company can no longer continue to fund BuzzFeed News. BuzzFeed News is a section of the company that is separate from the BuzzFeed listicle part of the company. BuzzFeed News is going away. According to CEO Jonah Peretti, we're reducing our workforce by approximately 15% today across our business, content, tech, admin teams, and we are closing down BuzzFeed News. He released this very long, mewling memo saying he tried to do the right thing, yada yada, blaming the stock market, and so on. The fading SPAC market that yielded less capital, tech recession, tough economy, declining stock market, decelerating digital advertising marked the ongoing audience and platform shifts. Dealing with all these obstacles at once is part of why we've needed to make difficult decisions to eliminate more jobs and reduce spending. So I always find it very interesting. I mean, let's just begin here on the esoteric sort of 35,000 foot level. I find it very interesting that the people who advocate for leftism, who advocate for Joe Biden and his economy, and the corrupt ideas that will wreck an economy, destroy our dollar, ruin this nation, that those people who advocate for that and spend every ounce of their credibility, journalistically and morally, on supporting Joe Biden in the efforts to get him elected are the ones who complain and bitch when Joe Biden does exactly what he promised to do to this economy, which was to destroy it. And so, F around and find out. Now, I effed around with BuzzFeed way back in the day, 10 years ago, actually. BuzzFeed hired me from The Blaze. Ben Smith was the editor of BuzzFeed at the time. There was no BuzzFeed News. And I was brought over to BuzzFeed. I accepted this job and I started writing political listicles for BuzzFeed. It was wildly successful. I actually broke Facebook once. It's a famous story around the BuzzFeed office that a listicle that I wrote about George W. Bush was so popular that Facebook stopped distribution because they thought that it was some type of virus or spam because it was being shared so widely and broadly. In the early days of BuzzFeed, there was a capacity to actually report the news and to make entertaining content that wasn't filled with left-wing vile, bile, or hatred. I did a lot of it. I was up against some of the biggest traffic drivers in the company's history, and I regularly beat them. We would get our data for how many views that we were generating for the site, and it was massive. Doing conservative media and doing conservative virality was extremely profitable for BuzzFeed. But in following a trend that leftists often follow, they will gladly sacrifice profitability and people who have been loyal to them in accordance with the mob and in accordance with woke tautology that is borderline fascistic in saying you're not allowed to have alternating or alternate worldviews or viewpoints inside of your newsroom. So I became a massive target because I was successful inside of the BuzzFeed ecosystem, and anonymous Twitter accounts started coming after me saying that I had plagiarized things. Now, it's curious if you look through the things that they said I plagiarized because, well, the way that BuzzFeed was built was a copy and paste site when I joined it. The individuals who taught me the BuzzFeed model and the BuzzFeed backend build for how to construct articles and listicles were perfectly happy. Scott Lamb was the guy who taught me. He was an editor at BuzzFeed. We're perfectly happy to tell me you just go through around the internet, you just grab stuff and throw it in there. We're BuzzFeed. We're like Google. We just take content from the internet and repackage it. Nobody cared about copyright. Nobody cared about copyright on photos, videos, assets, words. And so once you reach a level of success, which I reached a level of success, and I was a conservative at BuzzFeed and everyone knew that, the left created a campaign that was faceless, that didn't involve any real human beings, a faceless bot campaign to try and get me canceled, and they succeeded. Because BuzzFeed is filled with people who will gladly put ideology over profit. And so this news comes as cold comfort to me, because there are people still at BuzzFeed that have been kind to me and that don't deserve to be fired, that are decent individuals. But unfortunately, the wokeness and the craven lunacy of having an ideologically pure neo-Marxist newsroom has led now to the destruction of that company in total. So, I will end by saying this. Don't cry for me, Argentina. I love you. And what I mean by that is, thank you, BuzzFeed, in a way, because by firing me, you actually liberated me. I might have been one of the people getting a pink slip today, making literally pennies on the dollar for what my work was worth. By firing me, you started me off on a long and interesting journey that remains interesting to this very day, and on my way to 10 million total followers across social media for my own brand that I own 100% of, with my own successful company that I own 100% of. And so I didn't need an IPO like BuzzFeed to raise cash. I have taken the style of politics and viral political conservative politics, applied it to my own brand, and BuzzFeed's the one who actually kicking me out of the nest is the reason why I do this today, and it's been going great. So, in a way, salutations, BuzzFeed, thanks. And unfortunately, you effed around and you found out. There's a lot of people finding out today at BuzzFeed, but man, hot damn, am I so thankful for you. We work really, really hard at this company, and we are so thankful, appreciative every single day that we do not have to answer to the craven, goblin-like leftist lunatics who run media very poorly from inside of a rat-infested, crime-riddled Manhattan. These people are bad people. I know them personally. I've worked for them, a lot of them. They are bad people. We are honored and thankful to be liberated from that. And we're sad that there's a lot of people who are going to lose their jobs today because they were not able to liberate themselves. This is the breaking news. This is the long and muling, like, of course, the CEO, Jonah Peretti, is going to write, what is this? Like, it keeps going and going and going. 50,000 words on shutting down BuzzFeed News. Yeah, okay. BuzzFeed News, new logo, just dropped. What will we do without BuzzFeed? This is what started to happen to the site that used to, it would have never published something like this whilst I was working there. 37 things white people need to do to stop ruining in 2018. 20 reasons why white people can't be trusted. How privileged are you? Checklist. White people, read this before you text your black friends. Got it. Just every single article being some type of woke race hatred. This was the tip of the spear. BuzzFeed was the tip of the spear for this garbage. Again, it took a wild left-hand turn when they decided to do away with their most prominent and most successful conservative writer. They chose ideology over profit, and this is what you end up with. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, knocking on the door of Hershey's, Tampax, and Anheuser-Busch. This is Go Woke, Go Broke in real life. Check this out. Market summary for BuzzFeed Inc. This is just unbelievably painful. So here's what it looks like if you own stock in BuzzFeed. It is now selling at 74 cents on the dollar. This is a stock that had a $1.2 billion market capitalization at its peak and is now currently nearing its 52-week low. It's down 93% over the last 5 years. Never forget that BuzzFeed News published the steaming pile of trash that is the Steele dossier. This is the other point that I wanted to make here, which is that my ex-boss at BuzzFeed, somebody who is a wretched and morally deplorable human being, Ben Smith, now admits that he knew at the time that it was published that the fake news dossier contained clear errors. Oh, okay. One of his editors, Miriam Elder, also know her, warned it's not just unconfirmed, it includes clear errors. Yeah, I published it anyway. Here it is, still up. No notes, no apologies. Here's the dossier. Still up. Boom. There it is. You can read it. This is all the Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton paid for political dossier. BuzzFeed was the first website to publish it. Ladies and gentlemen, they are really willing to destroy this nation. The problem with the right is that they think the left has any shred of remorse about any of the national damage and lives destroyed over Russiagate. They don't. They consider it a historical success that led to impeachments, as was always the goal. Notice the date. This is the date that Donald Trump was inaugurated, January 20th, 2017. Look at that. The campaign to impeach Trump has begun. The first day of Donald Trump's presidency. Started by BuzzFeed. Here's BuzzFeed's market capitalization. That is what losing $1 billion looks like. Look at that. It's down to $110 million. You might think that's a lot of money. That's not even a month's worth of rent and salaries. This is what insolvency looks like. So people are saying, wow, it's really sad that BuzzFeed News has shut down. Tim Pool, who runs his own news site, is saying Timcast News is rated nearly perfect by NewsGuard, and we are expanding. What's BuzzFeed's excuse? Yeah, what exactly is their excuse? Can somebody please do an listicle entitled 10 Things We Love About BuzzFeed News Shutting Down? Pretty please. Charlie Kirk went and did it. Here's what he said. 7 reasons why BuzzFeed News is shutting down. Turns out crummy listicles don't pay in the long run. True. On issues like LGBT insanity and anti-racism, BuzzFeed said there are not two sides, and they wouldn't even pretend to offer objective reporting. Correct. According to FAIR, a left-wing media watchdog, BuzzFeed's coverage of Barack Obama was so fawning that it was creepy and sycophantic. True that. They published the discredited Clinton-financed PP tape dossier as news. They published a hit piece claiming that President Trump ordered Michael Cohen to lie to Congress, which Robert Mueller had to break protocol and immediately call false. They had to fire their top reporter, Ryan Broderick, after it turns out he'd been plagiarizing people his entire career. Ryan Broderick, one of those people who trained me. Again, BuzzFeed saw itself, when I joined, BuzzFeed saw the internet very differently. They saw themselves as an aggregator. And so it was totally permissible to go and aggregate everything. This is why they deleted, so they fired me, and then they deleted tens of thousands of articles of other writers. That's how it happened. They deleted them because that was just the way that BuzzFeed did business. They just made me pay for it. It was very convenient for them, for the ideologues, because, well, I was a conservative. It's very easy it would be an easy way to rid me of the newsroom. Rid the newsroom of me of the newsroom. Nobody wanted to read them. Good riddance. Yeah, good riddance. Andrew Tate saying, buy BuzzFeed News and turn it around. Do it, Tate is winning. Big time. Articles under Tate's BuzzFeed. 10 colors that you didn't know existed for a Bugatti because you can't afford one. Nice. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is how the cookie crumbles. And it's too bad because when you put ideology over profit, what you're really doing is you're saying that people's lives have to suffer. My life suffered for a little bit, but here's my takeaway message to you, is that there's going to be times when you get kicked in the teeth. There's going to be times when you get kicked right in the nuts in life. That is guaranteed. Christ guarantees that in his teachings. So know this, Christ also guarantees that he doesn't waste pain. That pain is a process, carving you out of wood. You want to be a beautiful piece of marble, man, you're going to have to take a chisel sometimes. It's going to hurt. It got really hurt. Suicidal ideation, real problems with my life when I got canned. I mean, it was the biggest news story in the country. It was tough for like a 25-year-old to take. It was a lot of weight. It was a lot of pain. And God had a plan. And so if you're out there watching this and you're suffering right now through something, I need you to know God has a plan for you. That this suffering doesn't have to simply be pain that doesn't resolve. God doesn't waste pain. God uses that as a refining fire, carving you out of wood, baby. Hebrews 11 says, never forget your confidence, for it will be richly rewarded. When you have done the will of God, you will see the fullness of his promise. If you are going through a tough time right now, remember, God is there for you. He is there with the fullness of his promise. Don't ever forget your confidence. Bye-bye, BuzzFeed. It's your boy Benny. We're still in business. See ya. Thank you for watching. Our channel's here to meme the libs until they cry and then to meme them crying. Their tears, they taste just like sweet, delicious ice cream. Salty, too. We ridicule the establishment and the libs because of you. Your support keeps us going. So if you like what you saw, please punch the subscribe button, click like, and ring the little bell so that you know when we're live. Don't you want to know when we're live? And make sure that you subscribe to our email list just in case the plug gets pulled, as tends to happen. If you want to see more of our videos, click here or here. My name is Benny Johnson. Stay free, base patriots.